Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Scrolling with Dave show. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to my little shop here. I think this is probably the first time I've done one of these live things from my shop around back. I'm either usually in my garage or right there in my living room somewhere. So this is, I thought I'd try to maybe do one of these out here. We're going to kind of just do some general Q&A. Hi, Steve. I see we got Sean, Steve, and Ed over there in the chat. Jeff Connor, how you doing, Jeff? Anyway, yeah, we're just going to kind of do some general Q&A stuff. If anybody's got any questions, I just thought it'd kind of be neat for maybe some of y'all who haven't seen my my shop back here, see my old antique CNC. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Raymond. Yeah, we're getting a good little crowd in here now. Reginald, hello from South Carolina. How you doing, Reginald? Okay, so yeah, we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to do a general Q&A kind of thing if anybody's got questions. But before we get to that, I've got Javier
Unzueta.
Yeah.
Just Javi.
Works fine. Javi. Yeah. He's got a challenge going on, and Javi, you want to tell everybody about the challenge you got going on right now?
Sure thing, Dave. It's basically for those of you who haven't heard, it's the November 30-day Almost Impossible challenge. And Almost Impossible it's living up to its name because there are a lot of people that are they really want to participate, but it's a tough one even for me. I'm so busy editing the people's photos that I haven't been able to catch up with my own photos. I've done the projects daily, but I haven't been able to post. But don't worry so much about the I mean, yeah, we have rules, but it's all about the fun. Do a project or part of a project daily and take a photo, Facebook, Instagram, or a video of it, either daily or weekly, 7 days. And again, I'm a little lax on the rules because I do realize we all have lives, and it's just about getting some more shop time and some more fun out there. So just try to do your best to get all those pictures out there. There's a lot of people participating. We have over 30 challengers, and there's 5 or 6 really strong competitors, including, although I'm not one of the judges, if it were, I will bias whoever the judges are right now and tell them Peter Pasuelo's kicking everybody's butt and setting the bar like way high.
Yeah, he's doing an awesome job. Him and Chip, they're knocking them out.
Yep.
But all righty, yeah, we got a good crowd over there now. We got a couple of folks from Australia. I saw. Let's see, where'd he go? John Revel. I'm not sure how you say your last name, John. He's from Australia. Cut and Carve. I don't know the name, but he says, hey, from Australia. Alan Barnett, hello from Southern Maryland. Land Astutes, hello all from Virginia. Dale Ludlam, he's from Oklahoma. Good crowd over there tonight. Okay, yeah. So you know, anybody that wants to get in on the challenge, I've been doing some stuff, but I'm, you know, some of you may know I've been I cleaned up my shop just a little bit, and I've got my scroll saw sitting right here in front of me. It's kind of right in the center of my shop, and I've been actually spending a little time scrolling, but I haven't taken time to take any of the pictures of the stuff I'm doing because to be quite honest, I still suck at it, but I'm having a lot of fun. So I call it my manual CNC. So that's all that matters, as long as I'm having fun doing that. And I've also done some other little CNC projects. I did one yesterday. You might have seen the video that I put out Mike Fulton from MF Woodshop made an awesome looking box. But the way he made the top was just crazy with a table saw. And as soon as I was watching that video, I said, man, I got to see if I can do that. So that turned out pretty good.
It's impressive and cringeworthy at the same time watching him do that.
It is. I mean, because especially since he didn't have a dado set in there, and he was having to not just do it once, but he was having to do it, several times.
Right.
It was, it kind of made you pucker a little bit when he's working around that table saw like that. But, it turned out beautiful. He figured out a way to get it sanded and everything. But, I almost felt guilty because when I got done, there was hardly like any, no burn marks or anything like that compared to what he had. So, but yeah, been doing a few little CNC projects. I've recently bought a bunch of stuff for turning pins. I've got my lathe back there. I haven't used in a really long time, so I'm going to try to get out here in the shop a little more, and especially since we changed off the daylight savings time. It's so depressing. It gets dark at it's already getting dark at 6, so it's getting dark even quicker here in the coming weeks.
It's funny. It's all relative because the people that are normally early risers are all angry because they're losing an hour. But the ones that are late into the night, they're happy because they get an extra hour. Yeah.
I don't like it at all. I prefer the daylight savings time. I wish they'd just get on it and stay.
Yep.
But nobody asked me. So, but I do want to get out here because it's nice. I can come out here. I've got my shop. Like I said, I cleaned up a little bit. It's still really messy, but at least I can move around in here. And I've got my scroll saw set up. I got where I can get to my lathe now. And
Dave, speaking of Mike Fulton, he just joined in the chat.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? We were just talking about your video. Yeah, that was amazing.
Box.
It's still when you finish that top, and I saw all those saw burn marks and stuff. I was thinking to myself, how in the heck is he ever going to clean that thing up? But by God, he figured out a way, and that box just turned out beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. So everybody go over to MF Woodshop. I guess I think he's got it as Mike Fulton now, his YouTube channel. But yeah, Tommy G. Dave has a lathe. Believe it or not, Tommy, you may see a video before long. I may start doing some scroll saw videos and lathe videos. Who knows what I might do? You never know with me. But yeah, everybody go over to Mike Fulton's YouTube channel and subscribe. Check out that video. It's awesome. Like I said, when I did the top, mine turned out so good that I thought, well, if this turns out where it looks pretty good, I'll go ahead and build the rest of the box. So I'm gonna try to work on that maybe this weekend or something. So okay, Jim Senecola, how you doing, Jim? Harry Vaughn Sr., hello from West Virginia. 37 folks, man. Must be a boring night around. People don't have anything better to do than to watch me. I guess we'll go ahead. We're just kind of BSing right now. Like I said, we're just going to make this kind of a general Q&A thing. I do have a couple other things I wanted to talk about. One of them is about the community forum that I have on the GarageWorks CNC website. I guess you'd call it the Dave Gatton Community Forum. Anybody can join that. You don't have to have a Gatton CNC or a GarageWorks CNC. Anybody can join that forum, and I would encourage anybody to, or if you don't have a CNC and you're thinking about getting one, you got a lot of questions and want to, find out some stuff. That's a good place to go to ask. One thing I would do though, right now we've got, I think, like 286 members. But when you go over there to sign up, if you would please use your first and last name for your username. That's been kind of a pet peeve of mine, and I know some other people that are on the forum. You know, we're all grown-ups, and we're going to use first and last names. We're not going to hide behind any kind of, you know, cool guy 86 or some silly, ridiculous username. So if you go over there and you sign up and you have used a username, when you go back to log in, use your first and last name, because I've already changed it. So, because I have to approve everybody to go on there. So I just want to bring that up. Like I said, there's a great bunch of folks over there. And a lot of good pictures of builds, some videos, and just a bunch of cool stuff over there. So feel free to go join that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Grant, let's see, we got Grant Davis in the house. How you doing, Grant? Darren Birds. Tommy G. Dave, you need some carbide tools for your lathe. Well, Tommy, I've looked at, in fact, I was watching your video. I've already watched the second part where you made the handle. And well, I guess you showed how you glue up the handle, and then the second one was how you turn it. Those are some good looking tools. I went crazy when I got a lathe. I traded an old air conditioner for a lathe, and it's not a big fancy lathe. It's a Rockler Excelsior, you know, the small lathe, and it has I think it's like a 19-inch extension on it, but you know, it's good enough for what I want to do, I think. But when I first got it, I went crazy and spent, you know, I bought like the Easy Wood Tools chuck, and I bought like 3 of the big Easy Wood tools and stuff. But yeah, Tommy, I'll hit you up if I ever get ready to buy anything else, because I know you make some great looking stuff. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge. Some of you who are watching tonight, we've got 37 folks watching. Some of you, you know, if you weren't watching this time last year, you may not even know anything about this, but I put on a CNC Christmas Challenge. It's really simple. It's basically just trying to get folks out in their shop to, you know, make something with their CNC with a Christmas theme. Record it, upload it to YouTube, send me the link. You know how the challenges go. I included the link in the bottom of this video description. I've got the link for last year's playlist. So if anybody's, you know, thinking, well, I don't even know what I would make. You know, we had like 16 entries last year, which, you know, was the first year, and we had some really creative people making some cool stuff. So you can go back and watch the playlist from last year if you want to try to get an idea of what to make. So yes, we're live now. Larry Duggar in the house. I'm trying to read the chat here.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I got you
anyway,
if anything.
Yeah. So we just want to get folks involved, get out in your shop, make something, like I said, a Christmas. I can't even talk here. I forgot to bring my bottle of water. Christmas themed project. We're going to have, Javi and I were just talking before we went live here. I want to make sure that not just like last year, I think we let anybody, wherever you are, enter. But we were kind of had our hands tied as far as who can win the prizes, because you can't ship, you know, just anywhere. But I think we're going to try to do, you know, Amazon gift cards, because I think we were looking at it, and I think we can work that out where if you win a prize and you're in, say, Australia or somewhere like that, I think we can work something out by, you know, issuing an Amazon gift card. And everybody loves Amazon. I mean, I'm if a day goes by and I don't get something from Amazon, the mailman will probably call the police, have them check on me. It's that bad. But yeah, so we'll do the Amazon gift cards, and I am going to put in about $300 worth. We'll probably have like $100 prize, a couple of $50 prizes, and then break it down and have 4 $25 prizes. And then anybody else that, and again, I haven't really talked about this much other than this Wednesday thing. I haven't put anything on the website, or I haven't put anything on Facebook or anything like that. But anybody else that would like to chip in and maybe, be a sponsor with a t-shirt or coffee mugs or a pen that you turn or something like that, those would be welcome too. And of course we can send those locally. We'd have to probably have some restrictions on those kind of prizes, but anyway.
Dave, how many times can you enter?
I don't know. I think last year we just had one per household, but I really don't care.
Sweet.
I mean, and of course, you need to shoot enough videos so that we know that you made the project with the CNC and stuff like that. But, I don't know. Should we put a limit on it, Hobby? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think you should, as much as people want. In fact, I was even going to encourage them, if I may. This might prompt you guys to enter the challenge, to participate more. Look for your local kids organizations, like Toys for Tots or something like that. And if you want to, if you're making decorations for yourself, that's fine too. But if you build toys, and I just got this idea from Chris Cute because he's doing it. Make toys, donate them to your local kids organizations, because there's a lot of kids out there that are needy.
Yeah, that's an excellent suggestion. And like I said, if you want to look through the playlist, last year's playlist, to get an idea of what kind of stuff folks made, we had all kinds of things. We had stuff that hang on the wall inside the house. We had outside yard art. We had wreaths, I mean, all kinds of stuff. But I was reading Mike Fulton's comment on the.
Yeah, so was I.
He had a 1/4-inch dado stack and he cleaned it off and then it quit. It worked good without the burn marks. I bet you were mad after you did that, weren't you? Yeah. But anyway, all right. So I don't see any questions over there, so I guess we're done. We'll see everybody. Good night. That's all I had. Like I said, I just want to talk about the Christmas challenge. I'll be putting something up on the website and posting stuff on Facebook. Again, if anybody's wanting to help out with sponsoring, something as simple as a t-shirt or a hat or, coffee mug or whatever, all that kind of merch stuff you guys have, that would be great too. And I'll probably contact, I think Rockler helped us out with some router bits or something last year. So I'll probably be contacting them and see what we can get. But I wanted to, go ahead and put it out there that I'm going to have some dollar prizes.
Raymond Dixon is asking, he's not familiar with how to make the video and formatting information. Any suggestions? Are you doing just videos or just videos or photos or anything like that? How are the entries going? Are they going to send them to you by email or?
Well, the way I've always done it last year was just, okay. Mike Fulton says he'll pitch in a t-shirt. Awesome, Mike. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just had them, like most challenges where they record it. upload it to their YouTube channel, and then send me the link. And then the playlist, you know, then I create the playlist, but obviously they're going to get the views from because it's on their channel. And I know a lot of people last year, there were some folks that, you know, you go, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't have a YouTube channel. I mean, any knucklehead can have a YouTube channel. I mean, look right here at me and Hobby. So we're proof of that. So yeah, it doesn't cost anything to get a YouTube channel. You can use your phone to record video. You know.
And Steve Nealon says that Makers Media Network will donate a T-shirt as well for a prize.
Okay, cool. All right, great. So we got a couple of T-shirts already. Awesome. Landis Stute says you ran a short. I'm not sure what that means. A short something a few weeks ago about maintenance on your CNC. What did you look at? I'll probably have to go with that when I'm doing the live stream from the garage, because I could tell you what I did, and it, you know, you'd have to really see it. One thing I did is I cut, you know, and again, guys, remember my machine is pretty much a production machine. I've got that big old heavy spindle on there, and I'm sure I've got way more hours than most of you guys on a machine as far as runtime. So, yeah, Mike Fulton says if you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel. You just don't know it. That's a good point, Mike.
And Jim says the movie making is hardest for him because his videos stink. Yeah, yours are nowhere near the worst I've seen.
Well, I didn't bring it out here. I meant to bring it out here, but for the first 3 or 4 years that I did YouTube videos, I had a thing called a flip video, and it was probably not even as big as this phone. It had one button, you know, had one big red button, and I'd put it on a tripod. I'd hit that button, and I'd walk around in front and do my thing, and then I'd walk back, hit that same red button. It was like on or off. That's the only button it had. And I did that for, like I said, 3 or 4 years. And then I thought, well, I'll try to up my game a little bit. So I went out to Best Buy and bought a Canon T5i or something like that. And I still make the same crummy videos. It's just now that they're, you know, a lot higher quality resolution. So still the same old crummy videos. So
I've seen some of the cheesiest and worst videos of people on YouTube seem to get the most views sometimes. You can never tell what someone else will appreciate or will like. Some people enjoy watching a dragged on, you know, a dragging video that's half an hour, 45 minutes long on a subject, and some people appreciate 5 minutes of shortcut. I mean, personally, I like to watch short videos. I got a short attention span. That's just me, but
yeah,
having more content out there helps everybody.
Yep. I see Thomas Grimm says, please scroll back to Matusic's question about the nuts. And I've already lost it here.
Yeah, he says, when you design your CNC machines, why are the backlash nuts mounting brackets mounted with any kind of gussets? I don't understand that, but is there a reason? Mine flex on the shoestring sidewinder. Oh, that's going back a ways. Yeah.
Well, all I can say is they shouldn't flex. Do you have them glued and screwed, or just screwed? And is everything aligned properly? Because if you have everything aligned properly, there's so little resistance pushing that thing, you shouldn't need them.
Yeah.
I see a lot of guys put them on there, and if you want to put a gusset on there, that's not going to hurt anything. But I've never put them on any of mine.
Can I use rolling chassis with the motors for this challenge? My rolling chassis with the motors.
I'm not sure what you mean, Jeff.
For the Christmas challenge?
How many hours drive are you from New Jersey?
I'd say about 12. You?
Yeah, probably about that.
That's Real. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Was there any other questions?
Oh.
Yeah, you'll have to clarify that question, Jeff. I'm not sure what you mean about rolling chassis with the motors for this challenge. Just furniture barrel nuts.
No, Rob, I'm not making fun of your sidewinders at all. Believe me, those things. Well, look behind Dave. That thing's a tank. And
yeah, well, he's talking. Rob is talking.
He's talking about the shoestring or the sidewinder.
Yeah, he's talking about the. See, a lot of people call the sidewinder that shoestring, that first wooden one, but to me, this is the real sidewinder because that's what's. When I did that video series and I called it "How to Build a CNC Router on a Shoestring Budget," just for the heck of it, because I have a CNC, I put sidewinder CNC on the back of that. Or on the front and back of that that other one. So then it kind of took off and everybody just started calling it a sidewinder, and I never said no, it's not a sidewinder, but I just let them call it whatever they wanted. But oh yeah, that reminds me. Until we get some more questions, one thing I did because I saw him out there in the chat earlier. I don't see him right now, but I have brought this up before in these live streams about anybody that lives close enough or is willing to make a drive that wants to come for like a one-on-one crash course in beginner CNC stuff. You're welcome to come. Just let me know the schedule. I've got somebody that's going to come this Saturday, and I have both GarageWorks CNC. I have 2 of those in the garage, and I also have my big Gatton. So whichever one of them you want to drive, we can, get it going. And okay, I see now it says his Flex 2 on the Gatton CNC. That's the first I've heard of that. I mean, if it's flexing, then something's not right. I glue and screw those on. I drill the holes and put them on, but once I put those things on, I don't want them to come off or come loose with the screws. So I glue and screw those things on. And I've never had they're not that long. They're stiff enough. You shouldn't have any flex. Jeff Connor. Yeah, he's still okay. Yeah, Jeff is the one that's going to come this Saturday, and we'll do a little.
Yeah, I had a great time at the meetup with Jeff and Larry. Well, and the rest of the gang.
Yeah, Tommy G. Yeah, you come on, Tommy. He's in California somewhere. Yeah, like I said, I just want to put that out there again. Like I said, I've mentioned it before on these little live stream shows, and nobody's really ever taken me up on it. They've asked me about it, but they don't ever say they're coming. But anybody that wants to do that, like I said, it's basically, I guess, for beginners, people that are just getting started, because I'll just, we'll throw a piece of material on there and let you cut what you want. We can go through the process of importing a file in and creating the tool path, and just whatever you need to know. I mean, if I know it, I'm happy to share it. So, and
remember the most important part: make sure you wear work clothes and jeans, because you will be sweeping. You will be vacuuming the shop.
Yeah, wear old clothes for sure. But Okay. Any other questions out there?
Real's asking if you come visit him. Can you come visit him and put together his 4x4? Well, I guess there's a price for everything, right?
Who's that? Grant? Is
That's
that
Real.
Oh, yeah. Oh, uh, I don't know. That's they're really not that hard. I mean, there's nothing to it. I've always said, you probably heard me say it 100 times. If you know which end of a Phillips screwdriver to hold, you can put one of my machines together. That's why they're designed the way they are. They're designed for everything to just go together like a puzzle. Tune up your shop vac, Dave. Yeah. Well, I have a dust collection, so if we run the Gatton, which I'm assuming that's the one you'd want to run, Jeff, it works good. And I need to do another one of these live streams from the garage. Maybe next Wednesday I'll do one from back out there, because I made a new dust shoe with that brush material that I bought 2 or 3 months ago, and finally got around to making it, and it works awesome. I'm really happy with it. I've got 2 pieces, and the bottom piece with the brushes is held on with magnets. It works great.
You got a question. You got a question from Edward Henry. What's the main software used for CNC project design and CNC control? Take it.
Well, I mean, that depends. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Personally, I've been using Vectric VCarve Pro for close to 10 years now, I guess. They're products that, whether it be the VCarve Pro, the desktop, or even Aspire, they're all really good programs. That would be more like your CAD CAM type software. And as far as control software, there's 2 or 3 good ones out there for that as well. Some folks like the Linux CNC because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Other folks go with UC CNC. And of course, I'm a long time Mach 3 user. Been using it for ever.
Yeah, same here. At the price tag that it's at, it's a deal and a half, and with all the support that you have from the community at Mach 3 for Mach 3. Yeah,
and a lot of folks have asked me, well, Mach 4's out now. When are you going to get Mach 4? When are you going to upgrade? And I'm like, Mach 3 still works. Why would I want to switch? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've got Mach 3 on screen right there.
Yeah, I guess one of the answers that I have is Edward, it's most comfortable, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you, at least with the Gatton community, the most common one is Vectric VCarve with Mach 3. That's what everybody's used to. That's what everybody can share their knowledge on, and that's what most of Dave's videos are revolve around. But if you're a little more tech savvy, or not necessarily tech savvy, but you can go into Linux CNC and work with those and save a ton of money. And then you can get into really like SolidWorks and other programs for your design, for your CAD, and import them into numerous programs. There's I know I'm mentioning a whole bunch of them, but if you want to stick to what's most common, Vectric VCarve and Mach 3 in our little corner of the world.
Yeah. I see Sean was asking what font do I use for the Gatton CNC on my gantry. The font that I use, the logo for Gatton CNC is Batman Forever Alternate. Let's see. I said, we must have some Linux CNC people out there. So somebody's going, yay, Linux CNC.
Real, yes, Mach 3 is actually only, it's only a Windows program. It's not available for Mac, but yes, it's usable in Windows 10. I actually run Windows 10. My Mach 3 runs in Windows 10.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Mach 3, I want to bring up something that, you know, if you've watched my videos from way back, you've always heard me say, try to find an old clunker computer that's got a parallel port, blah, blah, blah. And that used to be really easy to do. It's probably still fairly easy, but it's getting harder and harder. And plus, a lot of people don't want to, you know, if they've already got a computer that's not an old clunker, but something that they want to use to dedicate with their CNC machine, and it doesn't have a parallel port, my new recommendation is, even if you have one with a parallel port, if you can afford a UC 100, which is about 110, 115 bucks, go ahead and get that, because then no matter what, you know, if that computer crashes or whatever, you'll be able to run that machine with any computer, because all computers have USB ports, but not all of them have parallel cables. So, you know, so I've kind of had to back up from what I used to say, because like I said, back years ago when I used to say that, there was still, you know, more computers with parallel ports. Now, because several years have passed, now the ones that are starting to be clunkers still don't have a parallel port. But the desktop that I bought from Michael Chipser, he hooked me up with a nice little, it's a desktop, but it's a little bitty thing, and it's a Dell, I think. And that's what I use in my garage. And I use it for all of my machines in there. I just kind of move that UC 100 back and forth. But that machine, that desktop had a parallel port. And when I first got it, I used it, and then I thought, well, you know what? I bought a UC 100 to test out the UC CNC software. So I thought, well, I already got, you know, in fact, I got 2 of those. So I might as well connect it up. And I've never looked back. It just makes it so easy to, you know, I can keep a parallel cable connected to the different Xylotex drive boxes. And then whichever machine I want to run, I can just unplug that UC 100 and go over to this one and plug it in and load that profile, and boom, I'm off and running. So, yeah, I would definitely say, if you're going to run Mach 3, you know, even if you have a computer that has a parallel port, be thinking about getting a UC 100. Those are great little things.
Yeah, if you're having issues, you have to reinstall Mach 3, and there are plugins for Windows 10. Go on the forums, go on Mach 3's on Vectric's support site, and you'll get all the details. It depends whether you're running a parallel port, whether you're running a UC CNC. I mean, because you know, the compatibility issues with the 64-bit and 32-bit. There's different ways of doing it, and just have to figure it out. Or you can go the easy route and just, if you have a copy of Windows 7, you know, go that way.
Yeah, that's what I have on that computer that Michael Chipser got. He's got Windows 7 64-bit, and it works awesome.
Yeah, and you don't want to be using, I mean, depending on how many computers you have. Personally, I run numerous different CNC machines, from a vinyl cutter to a rotary engraver to laser, and every single one has its own computer. I do not run anything else on it. I don't run Hangouts. I don't run any other programs. I even design on another computer and just send the design over, because I personally like to have the one computer for the one machine, clean and lean, nothing else on it. Well, that's the way I like to do things with the machines, personally.
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you this in a minute. I want to answer a question Grant Davis had. He says, "What is the outside footprint measurement of the Garage Works 48 by 48?" The frame is roughly 56 by 56. Most people, when they build a table, to set it on, they build a minimum of 60 by 60.
And Edward Henry was saying he's a ways off from affording a CNC, and he thought he should start learning the software, and that's a fantastic idea. Actually, before I even started on the CNC, I picked up a copy of, I think it was version 3.0 back then, of you can get it on the Vectric site. You can get the demo version, and I mean, learn it until your heart's content. The Vectric V-Carve. You're limited to the number of lines, but if you practice and practice and practice on it, by the time you get the CNC, you'll be a pro. And as far as Mach 3 is concerned, well, that's something that you should learn while watching Dave's videos, while you're setting up the profile and setting up everything, because you're gonna have, that's something that you don't want to learn before you put together the machine. That's goes hand in hand.
I will say one thing about Mach 3, and this maybe it's just the way I'm wired, but to me, when I downloaded the Mach 3 demo and I first started playing around with it, I mean, I even knew a little something about CNC stuff from my day job back then, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you've got a machine to, so when you hit a button and you see what the machine does, it just made a whole lot more sense. So that's why I said, if anybody that's new and they want to come and test drive one of my machines, we can go through the whole thing and say, hey, let's just start from scratch, create a brand new Mach 3 profile, and show you how to set up all those settings and what you need to do to get up and running, which is, pretty much what everybody wants to do as quick as they can anyways. Just get the thing moving. Yeah, I've got just out of the camera shot here, I have an old E-machine running Windows XP. I don't know, that thing is probably, I don't know, it's probably 10 years old or older, and it runs, right now it's running with just the parallel port. And it's a clunker. It's slow. But you don't have to have a lot of computer horsepower to run Mach 3. It'll run Mach 3 and run the machine fine. But if I go to edit VCarve Pro or something and you run a simulation, it's like, you go in the house and get a sandwich and come back before it finishes.
And speaking of simulation, Edward Henry's asking if there's any way to use Mach 3 in virtual mode where it thinks it's running a CNC without having one, and goes back to what Dave said. You can run the G code and you'll see kind of what it's doing, but that's a very, very minor part of it, and it doesn't really make any sense because you're talking about connecting limit switches. If you do limit switch, you're talking about the direction of the X and the Y and the Z motors. You're talking about calibration. These are things you cannot do virtually. You have to have a CNC machine connected.
Yeah, because when you just do it like in the demo mode, you don't know whether you did it right or not. It's when you have the machine, then you know whether it's moving the right direction or, stuff like that. So it just makes a whole lot more sense when you have it hooked up to a machine. Mark Custom Designs. How you doing, Mark? Haven't seen you on here in a while. Good to see you again. I saw another question. Oh, Raymond Dixon says, are there problems with Ethernet smooth steppers in Windows 10? Hold on one sec. I'm going to be doing a live stream. I've had this Ethernet smooth stepper. I got it from Quick. No, is that what that said? Yeah, Quick CNC. I don't know if y'all can see that. Well, I'm sure I bought it online somewhere. But anyway, this is the Ethernet Smooth Stepper. It just has a place to connect to Cat 5, where this would go to your. Thought I just heard something outside. Hope not. And then this would go to your Ethernet port on your computer. I've got an old phone. I think this is from a phone or something to get power. And then you got the ribbon cable where you can connect the parallel cable to go to the drive box or whatever. But I'm gonna be talking more about this. I was gonna try to do it on this computer, and I came out here because I was gonna actually do that this Wednesday, and I came out here and I started hooking it up. And I've never used, this computer hadn't done anything but sit out here in the shop dedicated with no internet for 10 years. So when I connected it, I couldn't get it to work, but I think the Ethernet port doesn't work. It may not, it's got a card in there, but it may not even be hooked up or something. I don't know, because I had a
driver may be bad.
Yeah. So I've got Michael Chipser on the hunt for me another computer. And I know he's had some, I think his mother passed away or something down in Florida. So he's got a lot on his plate right now. But eventually I'll get another computer from him to replace this old E-machine out here. And then that's what I wanted to use. Because I've just had this thing sitting in the closet I bought this, used it in the garage. It worked great. In fact, I used it with the laptop that I'm talking to you guys on right now. It worked great, but then the only thing I didn't like about it is because I used this laptop for internet and this, it was kind of a pain because I've only got one Ethernet port. So every time I'd go back to get on the internet, I'd have to go back and redo some settings. And that, to me, that was kind of a pain in the butt. Now, if you're going to use a dedicated computer and use this, where you're not going to have to switch it back and forth, that's why I wanted to put it out here. But anyway, that's why I finally bought the UC 100, because it's USB. So I can carry the laptop out there. I've got two laptops just like the one I'm using now. And I can carry either one of those out to the shop, grab the UC 100, slap it in there and pull up the right machine profile and run whatever I want. Or I can use the desktop that I have out there. So I have all kinds of ways. I'll never be down now because, I've always got something that I can take out there and run the machine. But Raymond, I will get back to, we'll do one maybe next Wednesday or whenever I can get a computer. If nothing else, I could set this back up on that desktop out there. Well, you know what? I don't know if it may not have a card. I don't think it has an internet, an Ethernet port, because I told Michael I didn't need one. But I could do it with a laptop or something. But anyway, in the next week or two, we'll be talking about this.
Thomas Grin was asking, why did Xylotex stop providing the pass-through breakout board? He can't find one on eBay, but he has an older non-pass-through box, and he needs the pass-through. Why did they stop providing the pass-through breakout board? Did Xylotex ever have a breakout board on their?
Yeah, they've always sold breakout boards, but I think one reason they stopped doing that is
because of the new design.
Because on his box now he has two parallel port connections.
Gotcha.
So you don't really need the pass-through one, like he used to sell. But you can get. I'm trying to think where I have it. On one of my websites, there's an Amazon link for one of those breakout boards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not fancy. I mean, they're only like 10 or 15 bucks or something. There's not much to them.
Yep.
But
yeah, there's not anything to them. I could make one myself, and it's not even worth my trouble for the price that they have them online.
Yeah. So
it's literally a connector wired directly to 25 pins, which you can attach wires to. That's it. That's all a breakout board is. Let's see. We had another one up there.
Okay, I'm trying to see what's been going on there. Busy.
Oh, Mark was talking about he's been busy. He hasn't been around because he's been busy with the little ones. Wife wants a motorhome, and his time has been spent on that before she changes her mind. Good move, Mark. Yeah. That's why I got my RV.
Excellent move.
Absolutely.
Man, we got 55 folks watching now. You guys are awesome. I'm telling you what.
Yeah. And let's see. There was another one earlier.
Okay. Harry Vaughn says, Dave, how are you doing with your Masso?
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this a few times. I guess I'll talk about it again real quick. That was Jat was kind enough to send me a Masso. We did a giveaway back on the CNC with Dave show, and Jat was very kind enough to send me one of the Masso controller units. And so I set it up. I bought I'm an old Xylotex guy, but I bought a whole nother individual drivers. I bought stepper motors. I bought all kinds of stuff. And then it turns out I had a lot of problems with the Chinese stuff. I'm trying to be nice here. But, out of the 4-axis kit that I bought, 2 of the 4 drivers, one of them was dead on arrival, and the other one gave me fits. And then when I finally switched to a different, switched 2 of them, I realized that one worked. I mean, it came on, but it wasn't working properly. So that was a long story. So I had to order 2 more drivers from another company. Finally got all that done. I had it on the 36 by 24 GarageWorks demo machine that's in my garage. Had it, and in order to, really kick the tires with that Masso, I had to put on limit switches, or homing switches, I should say, an e-stop, and, stuff like that to really, learn about it. And it worked pretty good. They are constantly improving that whole deal. I mean, I get emails with the update that you have to go install the newest update, probably every 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm not trying to throw them under the bus or anything. I think the biggest issue that I have with the Masso is, one, I'm a long time Mach 3 user. So I like, I'm an old guy. I don't like change. So that was one thing. I had to learn a whole different way of doing things with the Masso. The other thing is, in my case, what I have out there in my garage are 3 machines. And it just made more sense for me to have one computer that could run all 3 and everything be real simple, where you just grab this UC100 and go plug it over here to this one, fire up the thing, and you go. Well, with the Masso, it's totally different. That Masso is kind of locked in to whatever machine I had it on. And so I just wanted to make sure that when somebody come here and said, hey, I want to see you demo this machine, that I had it running at the absolute best that it could run. And I just didn't feel like that I could do that with the Masso. A lot of it was probably my fault because, again, it's all new. The settings are different. And I just like the Mach 3. And again, in defense of the High Technology Group, they're new on the block at this. So, Mach 3 has been around for years and years. So they're kind of starting out way behind. They're making a lot of improvements and catching up. But for my particular situation, I ended up, I've still got it. It's all sitting there on a board, all the drivers and stuff. And I probably will use it again. Maybe when, if y'all follow me on Facebook and stuff, I got the prototype parts for that plasma option that I may start offering with the 4x4. So I may use it for something like that. I don't know.
Rael was asking what a Masso was.
A Masso controller, and here, while we're talking about that, it's a controller made by Hein Technology Group in Australia. Well, I don't know if it's made in Australia, but that's where Jat and them are. And it's a controller that doesn't need, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek because they say that it doesn't need a PC, no PC required. And technically that's true. You don't need a PC to run your machine. However, you still got to have a computer to have your programming, design software, and all that stuff. Yeah. And that was another thing that was kind of a downside for me is I'm used to having a dedicated computer where I have Mach 3 and VCar Pro. So when I'm in my office, I program something in VCar Pro. I put it on a little thumb drive. I think I got one in my pocket here. I think. I thought I did. But I bring it out here, load it in, start running it. And if you realize you forgot to do something, say you left a hole out or you meant to move a hole or, whatever it might be, instead of having to go all the way back into the house to my office, I can pull it up, even though it's slow as molasses. I can pull up VCar Pro, make the change, repost it, and boom, I'm back running. Well, with the Masso, you don't have that option. And that's another thing I wasn't crazy about the Masso, is it has a USB port where you put your flash drive and you pull your programs in. And when that machine is running, it's not running off of a hard drive or some kind of RAM memory. It's running off of that thumb drive. So if you're in the middle of running that thing and you go, oh, I need to go put that other program on there for when this one finishes, and you pull that thumb drive out, guess what? That machine stops.
And if the thumb drive is not high enough of quality or high enough of speed, that has a tendency to. I've had issues with my with my computer where I made the mistake when I first got the CNC is I ran the G code off the thumb drive rather than copying it onto the computer, and just that little lag was enough to cause the program to stop midway for large programs.
Yeah, and I think that probably has something to do with some of the issues I had with the machine not seeming to run smooth. It's kind of got, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but another thing, talking about the thumb drive, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the Masso because I'm not, but another thing I didn't like is when I program stuff if I had that thumb drive, I don't have it on me. I don't know where I left. I think it's stuck in the desktop out there in the garage. But if I was to plug that thumb drive in and show you the directory, there's like, whenever I start a new project, I create a folder for whatever that is, and then I put the VCar Pro file and whatever text files, G-code files in that folder. So I kind of keep, it kind of helps you keep things organized. Well, the Masso controller, when you plug that thumb drive in there, and then you hit, I believe it's F6 to load a program, it doesn't read any of those programs unless it's in the root directory. So that is kind of a, I don't know. I wasn't crazy about that because I had gotten used to trying to keep everything organized. Because when I put it in the computer and I pull it up, I go look for the folder, and I know that only the programs I need for that project are in that folder.
Edward was asking if it doesn't it run from a memory buffer regardless of a PC or thumb drive. Yes and no. There's a small memory buffer in Mach 3 depending on how it's set up, but regardless, there are issues with the thumb drive. Sometimes you can lose the connection in the middle of a large program, then the buffer will empty out real fast. Sometimes
was he talking about limited Mach 3 or was he talking about the Massa?
He's talking about using a thumb drive because I'd mentioned using a thumb drive to run the G code off the thumb drive, regardless of Massa or Mach 3. And the other issue is computer has limited resources, and sometimes, especially on those older computers, it tends to get a little confused.
Yeah.
Or overworked.
And that's one thing I do too. I never, even with Mach 3, I never run my program off of that thumb drive or flash drive. I always go grab the folder. That's why I like to have my programs in a folder. I go grab that folder and then I move that on my hard drive. And I always run off the hard drive, which, I'm no computer expert, but I think everybody should do it that way. Run it off the hard drive instead of trying to run it off a flash drive.
There was an earlier question, Dave, about if the UCNC, the UC100 rather, and the Smooth Stepper was just lost the question, but if it was just a way to not use a parallel port and use a CNC, use the USB. I believe they're a little different in the way they work, don't they? Aren't they?
Say that again. Now you're talking about the Smooth Stepper,
the Smooth Stepper, and
they make two different types of Smooth Steppers. This one is a Ethernet Smooth Stepper. If I can get it back over here. So, I don't have that cable. All right. So this one, you plug this Cat 5. If I turn it the right way, plug that Cat 5 cable in, and then this would plug into your Ethernet port on your computer. They also make a USB Smooth Stepper.
Gotcha.
In hindsight, I wish that's the one I had bought, but I didn't. I bought
and now, how does that differ from the UC 100?
The UC 100 works off a USB port.
So it's nothing but a USB to parallel converter, for lack of a better.
I don't have one out here, but you have about a 6-foot cable. You plug into your USB port on your computer, and then it comes out, and then you have at the end of that cable is one of those little mini USB things that plugs into that little gray box that says UC 100, and that's the CNC motion controller, and then it's a parallel port that you connect your parallel port. All right. But it's just, I know you guys are going to think I'm a salesman for them now, but it's just, that's the best thing out there right now, as far as I can tell, because it makes it so easy for somebody like me who's got multiple machines. I just unplug one and plug it in another, load a different machine profile, and I'm done. Can run everything off of that one computer.
Yeah, Edward built a big shop computer for with a 12 terabyte. I believe in having a monster computer as well, but for me, it's my design computer. All the other little computers connect to my units individually, because there are times, I've got a 3D printer as well. There are times I want to run. As Dave fondly puts it, there's times I want to run the vinyl cutter and the rotary engraver and the laser engraver and the CNC router and the 3D printer, and have a sandwich.
Exactly. Got to have that sandwich.
Got to have that sandwich.
I see Art Day has got a question there. It says, will a UC100 run right out of the box, or do you need a plug-in and a license? Let me explain, and I've talked about this before, but let me explain about a UC100. If you're running Mach 3, which is what I was when I bought my first UC100, when you go there, it says that it works with Mach 3 and everything, and it does. But you do have to load a plug-in. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Doesn't take anything to install it. So you load the plug-in, and it'll work with Mach 3. Real easy to set up. That's another reason why I'm a big fan of the UC100. Now, if you want to use the UC100 with the UC CNC software, that's a whole nother ball game. The UC CNC software, and some of you guys have probably heard me gripe about this before. It's confusing, at least to me it was, because when I was doing the CNC with Dave show, people had asked about that software, and I thought, well, let me just buy it so that I can test drive it, and that way I can talk about it if I've used it a little bit. Well, when you go to buy the software, you pay $60. That's what it was back when I bought it. I guess it still is. And you download it, and you've got a demo version. Well, then to get a license, you have to have a license to make it, a full-blown thing. Well, you have to give them the serial number off of a UC100 or UC3, whichever one of those you're using. So I gave them the serial number off of my UC100, the one that I had. And now that software is tied into that UC100. So it only works with that one thing. I have since bought another UC100 that I, use with Mach 3. But if I tried to run UC CNC software with the other one, it wouldn't work. It's looking for the one that's got that serial number tied to it. So I'm not going to knock UC CNC software. I know a lot of folks that use it, and it's pretty good stuff. Again, I'm an old-time Mach 3 user, and once if it works, why change? So I prefer to use Mach 3, which I've been using for years, with the UC100. And I can take, like, for example, I have one of the UC100s. I don't know what it is. We'll call it serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what it is. It's on my Gatton. Well, it's really on the desktop computer. And depending on which machine I plug it in, I can plug it into the 36 by 24 GarageWorks, or I can plug it into the Gatton CNC, and then just whichever machine profile I pull it, it'll work fine. I can also take my laptop out there and go to my other I have a 24 by 18 that's got a laser on it, and I have a UC100 on there, and I can put that one on. And it doesn't matter. Mach 3, it'll work with either one of those UC100s I plug it into. It's just that if I plug it into the one that I wasn't using last, it'll come up and say it needs a firmware update, and it does it in like 10 seconds, and then it'll work properly. When you switch back to the other one, it'll do it again. But when you're using the UC CNC software with a UC100, it's tied into the serial number, and it's only going to work with that one. I probably confused a bunch of people just then, but
they were listening. They have a debate going on about one computer for the shop and multiple computers, and there's, obviously there's advantages to both. I'm of the I'm of the many computer variety, because the ones for the minimal amount that you need, or the the amount you need to run a CNC is just so minimal. I mean, you can run them with XP uh, and without an issue. And
Yeah, as I do right over here.
yeah, and well, I mean that's my personal preference. There are those who want to do everything with one computer. The only thing I caution against, and it's been mentioned there, is if your computer crashes, if your hard drive crashes, you lose everything. But not only that, if you're running, as I often do, an 8-hour CNC program, and you want to get on Hangouts or you want to get on the internet, and there's a or there's an update, whatever the case may be, then you're gonna run into some problems. Some of you don't have it connected to the internet. Oh, and that's another danger. It's if you have it connected to the internet. For those of you that have one computer doing everything, not to sound paranoid, but basically, if you're not completely secure, they have access to your CNC and can crash your system while you're running a program. Or I've had issues with certain my Apple TVs or different nodes, for lack of a better word, in my local Ethernet that people are trying to hack into, and it goes down every now and then. And I was wondering why it went down, and I found out it was because we traced it to the fact that somebody was trying to hack into the system. The system won't let it get hacked into, but it'll crash in doing so. So we've since put firewalls, but again, just mentioning one of the dangers.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I always recommend, no matter what kind of computer you use for your machine, just make it a dedicated computer. And, you know, like you said, it doesn't take a lot of horsepower to run Mach 3 and run the machine well. But I had issues, and I see people having issues all the time. You know, and that's one of the first things I'll say when they're saying, well, it's doing this, or it runs a few minutes and then it quits. I'm like, well, are you connected to the internet? If you're connected to the internet, you probably got virus protection. So it may be trying to do a virus scan right in the middle of a program, or, you know, you just trying to upgrade some software. You know, there's all kinds of things that go on when you got the internet or Wi-Fi. And I found that with my laptop, I take it out there. As long as I remember to turn the Wi-Fi off and disable everything, it would run fine. But then I'd have to remember to turn all that stuff back on. And I just got tired of fooling with it. I'm like, I'm just going to put one computer out there and make it where I can run any of my machines with that one computer, kind of centrally located. And it works out great.
Yeah, and while you're using, and another danger is the length of your computer's, the distance. If you're using Ethernet for everything, then you're not going to run into a problem, because Ethernet is probably 300. It's 300 feet for Cat 5, Cat 6 cable, the maximum distance. But for USB, anything over 6 feet is degrades major, and parallel cable 3 feet. Anything over 3 feet. And most of us have 6 feet parallel cables, and even that's pushing it sometimes. If you have an issue, try a smaller cable, and if it fixes it, that was your issue. If you're running multiple machines from one computer and they're all spread out all over the place, and it's not Ethernet, that could also be another problem, or something to look at.
Yeah, want to give a shout out to, I see TJ's Woodworking Shop over there in the chat. How you doing, TJ? And also, you know, my background, I've always worked around, you know, in fab shops and stuff like that. And all of the machines, whether it's a big CNC laser or you know, turret presses or anything that uses some kind of G code, you know, machining centers, all that kind of stuff. Usually they have, well, almost always they'll have somebody in an office that's doing the programming, and then they either take the programs out to the machines on either a flash drive, or maybe they've got it wired, where they can send them out there. But, to me, it's kind of the same thing. If you got a dedicated computer, it just saves a bunch of headaches because there's less stuff to go wrong, less stuff to troubleshoot.
Yeah. Royale does it the way I do it. I have a machine in the house and one in the shop running my CNC. I unfortunately have 4 shops, with 3 shops. It's my rotary engraver and my well, not my vinyl cutters here, but it used to be out there. And I could run them from this computer using TeamViewer or VNC, and the CNC machines behind me, and I could either control the computers if I needed to, or just walk over and control the machine from the computer. But they were all interconnected, so I could transfer files very easily. And the internal network was separated physically with a firewall from the external network. It's always important. This is the only computer with access to the external. None of them can go outside.
Yeah, we're running over a little bit, or actually a lot. But
good questions.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good questions, and I'm amazed kind of that this is my first time to do one of these from out here in my old shop, or my shop around back in front of my old machine. And nobody's asked me anything about this. I kept thinking somebody's going to ask me about my little enclosure thing, but nobody's asked me about it.
Yeah, I envy Robbie Robbie Sidney, because I'm a little older. Well, I don't know how old he is, but I was heavy duty into programming and IT back in the 80s, and then I just went into different fields, and I left that sort of thing. And I'm sure if I would have stuck with it, I would have been a Linux head in the late 80s and the 90s, and would have been caught up on all the I've just never bothered to learn it to a degree that I can be extremely functional with it. And there's so many advantages to it. And my Mac runs on Linux based, so I should. Yeah. I know just enough to be dangerous, but there's just so much you can do if you have that knowledge.
Yeah, I see.
He's the same age I am. Well, there's
everybody's asking about the enclosure now. I didn't put the bug in your ear.
There you go.
I'll show you this. It's nothing fancy, as you can see. And don't make fun of my filter. I've had that for years on there. Everybody makes fun of that. This is just some old scrap Lexan that where I worked a while back. They were going to throw it away. And so I got it and I cut it up. Of course, it's filthy. But you can see I just took 2x4 and cut it down to make some 2x2s and just screwed this Lexan on here. And then you can see I just got some screws sticking out. And all of these panels, there's one big one across the back and then 2 of these smaller ones on each side. And they're just sitting on here. There's nothing. The only thing that holds them up is I have a little wooden clip that I cut on the CNC, and it just hooks to that screw up that's in the other piece. So, when I'm out here, and the other high tech thing I have is I keep cardboard. It's like if I'm running like HDPE, it's like making snowflakes. So I just put these up and I can look over and check it out, but it keeps all of the mess right in there. Yeah. So, and then of course, if I need to clean in the back, because I have it at the back of the shop here up against this wall, I can go around either side and just take these panels down, take 2 of them down, and of course the other, you know, since that's forming a 90, that'll hold the rest of them up. But just some old beat up Lexan. So, you know, if you're looking for a way to help control the dust in your shop, that might be an alternative. I didn't even bother putting anything on top. I do have a light that I put back there, so it's really easy to see what I'm doing. But yeah, that's my my high-tech enclosure.
Yep.
And of course, this is my t-shirt filter. Had that on there for years. You know, I've had people when I make a video and they'd see that and they go, "What is it? What do you got that on there for? You don't need that."
Yeah. Whose underwear is that?
Maybe not, but after you've been running it a while and you pull this off, you know, it'll be caked with stuff. So I'm thinking, well, if that wasn't on there, that would have went through the router. So
yeah.
But
yeah, it's important to have it on there. I know a lot of people say no, but I've got an 890 with a burned armature to prove that you never know. It's just the slightest little bit of dust, and I had a vacuum boot on mine, so you know.
Yeah, I used to run I used to have I probably still got it down there somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. I used to have, this was the dust shoe.
Yeah.
That I used to run, and this had the same kind of like little clip because my magnets weren't strong enough.
Mm.
And this one, I probably shared these files before at some point, but what this does is you see where the router sits here, the collet goes through here, and all the air is forced out this little opening on the side. So it helps. It was very effective, actually, because since the air from the router wasn't trying to blow the dust up under the skirt, it was all going out the side.
Yeah.
But you can see I had a small hole here. I just had to use like a shop vac. But it was pretty effective. But now I don't run this machine that much, and when I do, usually it's running HDPE, so I just put up my little cardboard wall here in front and let it go.
MacTech was asking if that was a CNC grade cardboard.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I love my enclosure. It's the best thing I ever did. I was actually on a hangout a little earlier on a show a little earlier, and I was actually running and talking, and you barely heard a hum out of the machine.
Yeah, the
soundproofing features of it is fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean when it's enclosed.
Yeah, while we still got 50 some people watching here. I want to mention, you know, sometimes in the forum, or not the forums so much, but the Facebook groups, you'll see one person have a problem with a Xylatex dry box, a fan quit working or something like that, and all of a sudden it's like you swear there's an epidemic, you know, stuff's going bad. You can see this. Well, you probably can't see it, but under there I have a Xylatex box. Yeah, you can almost see it. I got it where it sits right in the middle of the table to try to keep the dust out of it. That sucker's about 12 years old.
Yep.
Still going strong. So, you know,
love that sound.
This is a back when I bought this. Another thing you might notice too is these motors are a lot smaller. These are only 269 ounce. That's what Jeff used to sell way back in the day.
Yep.
But it's that's a good little machine. I've often thought about taking this one apart and putting it somewhere and putting one of my, you know, maybe a Garage Works in here, or maybe even build a smaller Gatton to put right here, which I might still do. I don't know. But I don't know. This one runs so good. I hate to take it apart. All right, are we about out of questions here?
Yeah, they were talking a little about the smooth stepper and the UC 100. Edward left.
Ralph says, "Can you share the files?"
Yep.
Again, if you're talking about that dust shoe, I've got much better dust shoes now than that old thing.
Yep.
And in fact, I think the files for, I think, is Real a member of the Gatton CNC, or, well, which one is it? One of the Facebook groups, Gatton CNC or GarageWorks, or maybe it's both of them. In the file section, I think it's the Gatton CNC group, but in the file section of that group, there's lots of plans in there that I put up there for different. I've got one for a spindle dust shoe, one for a 7518 Porter cable, one for, I think, a 690, which is what that is.
Hamlin wants you to light the enclosure.
Yeah, I see that. This is about as good as it's going to get, Steve, right here. Well, where is it? There we go. That's about, I got a little LED, like a little kitchen light you put up there. That's about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
And also, you'll notice, folks, this is kind of the same deal I use on my Gatton around the shop.
Yep.
I got, actually, this one's my light. This one doesn't do anything, but that's where I used to have my vacuum shop vac plugged into that one. And this one's the control. And then this one's the router.
It's too loud. Buy a spindle.
Yeah, I tell you, it is loud in here. This building is 12 by 28. But I don't know whether it's because I've got that 3-sided enclosure and now it's like an amphitheater or what, but it's, yeah, that thing is really loud. That's why I keep these really close. But when I bought this building, this is basically technically a storage building is what it was sold as. And the first thing I did was first thing I did was run the wiring outlets. I've got my buddy Jim put me like 100 amp service out here. And then you can see behind me the brown paper, that's insulation, where I started putting up like the cheap plywood for walls. And then when I got to the ends, you can see there's a piece of plywood laying there. It's not even fastened. I ran out of patience. I'm like, I got to get out there and start making stuff. So I just went ahead and moved in, and of course, never. But I've got insulation even in the ceiling here. So even as loud as this thing is, when you walk out the door and walk more than a few feet away, you can't even hear that thing. So I can be out here middle of the night doing stuff, and neighbors can't hear me. But it's loud in here.
Yep.
Okay, we got any other questions? I guess we can wrap it up here.
Yep.
We went pretty long to not really have much to talk about tonight.
There's always interest in CNC.
Yeah, I see we got that Lindsay fella in here. I don't know who let him in here. Light show. I don't know what that is. LED light show.
He was saying about the to edge light your thing with the LED lights.
Okay.
With the RGB strips.
I see Cut and Carve. I believe that was somebody from Australia. Says, I used Mach 3 for 8 years, and going to UC CNC was a breath of fresh air. I see. I was kind of the opposite. I mean, the UC CNC worked okay, but again, I'm old school. I don't like change. So one thing I didn't like the pastel colors. The screens were harder to look at than Mach 3, because when you're used to looking at something, and even as long as I've been using Mach 3, I know a lot of folks use the different screen sets and all that. I'm I'm on the default one. I've never switched. I've tried a couple of them and I didn't like them, so I just stayed to the default screen.
Raymond says Mark wants you to make more changes to your Gatton CNC.
Make more changes. He's making enough of them for me.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for Mark Lindsay. When are you putting the second story on?
Yeah, the only question I have for him is when we going to see some parts come off that thing. That's what one's for.
I do like the LEDs.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess
it's Kmart in my enclosure, though. So, I mean, it's Kmart lighting or Walmart lighting in there. So,
yeah. Well, I guess we're going to wrap this one up, guys. Thanks for it, man. I can't believe we got 54 viewers watching. Didn't really even have much to talk about. And I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, came on there and said that they missed the beginning when we were talking about the CNC Christmas challenge. I'll go over that real quick. You know, we're going to have, well, I'm going to try to get some other sponsors, but I'm going to put in like about $300 worth of Amazon gift cards and or PayPal payments, or however we have to do it. You know, we'll probably have $100, a couple of $50, and probably 4 $25 prizes. And I put the link to last year's playlist in the description of this video. So, you know, anybody that wants to get some ideas, we had some awesome entries last year. So, okay, Rails, I guess he found the files that I was telling him about. There's a bunch of them in there. But what kind of router are you going to use?
yeah.
Would I make a Garage Works for NEMA 34?
I don't see why you would. I mean, unless you have a bunch of them laying around, that's a beefy. I mean, why would you need it? It's overkill. I mean, I've got 325-ounce motors in mine, and it's. I mean, you could take an arm off with that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just, I mean, for the size of the machine that the Garage Works is, there's no reason to run NEMA 34s. None of it, you know, the gantry and all, it's not that heavy. And I mean, it's stout because it's steel, but, you know, as far as weight, it's not super heavy or anything like that. So, Ryan Ballard in the house. Yeah, Tommy's saying it's almost over now, Ryan.
Mark Lindsay, NEMA 34s, are you cutting engine blocks? Yeah, that's a heck of a 1098 ounce. That's a monster. I mean, it's what are they doing? They're shipping with 425s, the Xylotex now?
Yeah, they're 425.
425s. That's 1.5 times the ones I have in this thing.
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess I don't see any more questions. Yeah. Thanks. We still got 50-something people watching. I can't believe you guys. You guys are just so awesome. But well, y'all kind of throw me some comments in there real quick before we get off here. Do you like me doing this out here, or would you rather me be out in the garage where I can do probably better in there, I guess, showing the Gatton and Garage Work stuff?
Yeah, the one thing I'd worry about if using motors that big is it's if you don't have limit switches and stuff, you could tear something apart with those motors.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing about the 23s and well, really the 24s technically that are shipping with the Xylotech, because they're not 23s, although everybody calls them 23s, is that they're the weak point, as I like to see it, they will break before they tear anything apart. Or rather, they will stop before they tear anything apart.
Yeah.
They'll stall. A bigger motor might actually do some damage.
And I'll just say this real quick before we get out of here. You know, a lot of people get hung up on rapid speeds and all that kind of stuff. And in the big scheme of things, especially if you're a hobby CNC person, those rapids aren't going to save you that much cycle time. They might, you know, if you got your machine doing something over here and then coming and it has to move fast to get over here, you probably don't have your program optimized right. Because why is it, you know, why it should be working its way over there or something. But but you know, even you know, you can still only cut so fast.
And that's the only difference between the that's the only difference where it'll apply is the rapids in between movements, because the actual movements of the carve are none of them are rapids.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can only, you know, depending on the material,
you can't surface a board with rapids.
Yeah, you know, you can only move so fast. So, you know, a few milliseconds you're probably saving over the course of a program. Or maybe more than that. I don't know. But, you know, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I just think some people get hung up on the rapid range and, oh, man, my machine will do 1,200 inches a minute. But, yeah, but if your machine's as big as this one back here, it's never going to get that fast.
Well, I think when I first started into the CNC routers, what threw me for a loop was how slow they were, because the first experience I ever had with CNCs, aside from the other types of machines, was one of those carve rights. And those carve rights is going, it's going back and forth at such an incredible rate, but it's taking off. I mean, we're talking a 32nd of an inch at a time, and the motor and the head is so tiny. You put a 17-pound or even a 10-pound router, you're not going to be moving at the speeds that a printer head moves, and you can't. It's just physically impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Raymond Dixon says, I wanted to be able to cut soft metals also, so I got the 600 ounce. You could have done that with the other ones.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll definitely be able to do it with the 600 ounce, but you could have done it with. I can cut aluminum with these.
Yeah, same here. It's all about the quality of the bit and the router itself.
Yeah.
If you're using a Dremel tool, you're not going to cut very quickly. If you're using a water-cooled spindle, you know.
Yep. Tommy G. All right. Well, I guess we're going to get out of here. Last chance. Any other questions before I shut this thing down?
Yeah.
Bobby, thanks.
Hamlin says, yeah, but if your table's 30 feet long, rapids matter. Well, yeah. But then that's not a hobbyist CNC anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's why all the commercial outfits, you know, they have the big rapids, but because that, you know, if it's a production machine like that, those little bits of saved cycle time add up. But for the average hobbyist, it's just impressive to show your neighbor Bob, look how fast this will go. You know, that's all.
Yeah. Real is I'm assuming he's joking. He says he wants to buy a carve right. I bought one, and luckily I bought it from Sears, and was because of their return policy. 3 days later, I returned it. It is I won't say anything bad. If you can't say anything bad, don't say anything. I mean, anything nice.
Yeah, it's what is the let's see what
it's beyond a toy. It is, and it is.
Well, what we used to say when we had a machine that was always, you know, had a lot of downtime, we'd always say it's hell when it's well, but it's sick all the time.
Yeah, it's great if all you want to do is cut little rosettes. That's it.
Yeah.
And then not for production. Oh, you're very welcome, Dave.
Thank you for being on here tonight and helping me watch the chat. We'll probably do another one next week. Like I said, if I can get a computer that I can use with that Ethernet smooth stepper, I'll maybe go over that, or I may just use a laptop, you know, if somebody wants to see that. Like I said, make sure y'all, if you missed the beginning of this, at least go back and watch the first 10 or 15 minutes, because that's when we were talking about the Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge. And I'd like to see a bunch of folks get involved with that. And really, today's the 8th. I guess I should say when it starts. You know, we start on Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving, and it runs right up until 11:59 p.m. Christmas Eve. And then I'll do I don't know, I maybe do a Saturday show or something to announce the winners and all that, because that'll probably take a while to do. I hope it takes a while. I hope we have a bunch of folks. Like I said, we had 16 entries last year, which was pretty phenomenal, and hope to get a bunch more. Southern Ginger in the house.
Nope. Well, glad you caught the tail end.
I heard he's a quitter. Did you hear that?
I missed that one.
No, I saw something on Facebook. I think he said he quit his job or something like that.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad you can make it, Zach. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get out of here. It's way late now. Thanks, everybody. We still got 40-something watching. Thanks, everybody, for hanging around here. I appreciate you. And Javi, again, thank you for helping me watch the chat. And everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to y'all next week sometime. Everybody take care.
At all.